In today's video, we're going to talk about lens breathing and which one of these four lenses are the worst for breathing. Then we're going to talk about, does it really matter? And the final conclusion, you're going to be very surprised. Before we get into lens breathing, let's talk about which lenses I'm testing. These are all 35mm lens, and they're all shot on the same f-stop. So there's not going to be any changes between any of these lenses. So let's start on my right. This is the Zeiss CP2 cinema lens, the Zeiss Milvus ZE Canon Fit f2 lens, the Canon 16-35 L Series 2 lens, 2.8 version, and the Samyang Xeen cinema lens. Now, out of all of these lenses, which one are you going to guess has the worst lens breathing? I'll give you a hint. In this test, we're going to look at the edges of the frame to see how much it moves and changes the field of view. Why I own this in the Milvus is because these are pretty much the same lenses. So if I take this on a gimbal, it's going to be the same quality of lens, same sharpness, same contrast as the CP2. They're basically the same lens, just in different housing. This is a cinema house, and this is a Milvus photography manual lens that I absolutely adore just because the quality and the manual focus. Hard stops are an amazing thing, especially if you're pulling focus. You want to be able to have hard stops, or if you're using a wireless focus. And the one that surprised me most of all, obviously not the greatest lens in my kit, but it's the Canon 16-35. It's good sharp lens, not the best at the 16mm, especially wide open. It's very soft if you use it at 2.8. f4 is plenty sharp between 16 and 35. It's just not a wide open lens. But really surprises me, has the least breathing of all of these lenses. The Samyang absolutely being the worst lens for lens breathing, which doesn't really surprise me. As you can see from the Samyang Xeen lens, it's very weird that it has less of a field of view than all my other 35mm lenses. And it is the same. All of these are full frame lenses, but yet the Samyang has less field of view and some of the worst breathing out of all of them. This is a $3,000 lens. This is a $1,400 lens. This is a $2,000 lens. And this is a $1,500 lens, but this is way overpriced for what it is. Let's take a look at the side-by-side of all these lenses, and we can really judge the field of view from every lens, from the closest focal point to the furthest focal point. In this side-by-side, what I'm looking at is the light in the background on the far right-hand side, and the green light on the left-hand side, plus the light that's hitting the headphones in the foreground. We're going to watch that squeeze in as we focus from our closest point to our furthest away point. I was super surprised to find out that the Canon, of all of these lenses, the Canon 16-35 f2.8 is the least breathing lens in my set. I really thought that the Zeiss lenses would be much better on breathing, but they are not, especially on their compact prime cinema lens. I really thought this would outperform the rest of them. Does lens breathing really matter? It does a little bit, especially if you're trying to do, like on these examples, I'm doing super focus pulls. So it's very much from the closest focus point to the furthest away infinity focus point for the background, just to show you the difference of extreme focus pulls. More than likely, you're not going to pull focus that much like that. You're just going to tweak a little bit between, you know, a few inches to a foot. You're never going to go from, like, you know, 1 foot away all the way to 35 feet away or 50 feet away from this lens. And this lens being also 50 feet away, and this lens being 10 feet to infinity, and this lens being about a quarter of a foot, so about 3 inches to all the way to a foot to infinity. Don't really exactly know, just because the way the measurements are on this versus something like a Zeiss, solid Zeiss, solid markers, you know, from 12 inches all the way up to 10 feet to infinity. These are going to be much more accurate than photography lenses, and the cinema's the same way. And this one just is a guess because it's not really accurate at all. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is in no way to discourage you from, oh, if you own one of these lenses, you need to change to another lens, you need to buy a new lens, because it's never going to be as bad as what you think it is. Is it distracting to the audience? Just a little bit, but you'll never be pulling focus like I did in this example. So remember to go out there and hit that like and subscribe button, please. We are halfway between 1,000 subscribers. And leave comments below if you think I'm completely wrong, if you think I'm right. If you like one of these lenses, just let me know. And we'll see you in the next video.